All right, good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. Got questions for Coach Traylor? Please use the raise hand function and wait for me to call on you. JJ, you can get us started.
Hey, Jeff, what did you see on film this week after reviewing this last week's game?
We got hot early and went right down the field and scored, which was really it's 2 weeks in a row we've done that now, so that's really good. And then second drive answered again, and then knocking their quarterback out. The hit Marcellus put on that kid really put Rice in a bad way. And then we knocked the second one out, and that's just tough. And we were good in all three phases. Our crowd was fantastic. Our band's always fantastic. And we're really hard to beat at home. We just get momentum going like that. Our kids feed off of the energy of the crowd. And after a tough loss to Temple, coming home, and our fans responding the way they do, it's always a great reminder why this place is so special and why we always feel so terrible when we let them down.
Jeff, what's your evaluation of the play of the defense? It looked like they were pretty dominant in parts of this game.
Yeah, they were. They were extremely physical. I'd say it was the most physical we've been all year. You can tell those guys are getting used to playing together. Coach Lelp had a good plan. Those guys knew what they were up doing and played really well. Very fast to the ball. Played a lot of people out. We always do. And if you were just down there, I don't know where you guys actually sit during the game, but there are a few games where you can hear some hits, but it felt like I heard every hit in this game.
Greg?
Jeff, was there something that you thought inspired that physicality or brought that out of the guys? What sort of led to that difference that you saw in this game?
I know that loss over there last year was an extremely frustrating one that kind of, you guys were there and you know how frustrating that was for us to battle through that game and then to take the lead very late. Some very frustrating penalties on that last drive, and they scored on the last play of the game, basically. I would imagine a year of frustration. Had to go back and watch that game a ton, during the week. And, I'm sure you've had some bad days in your life before. As you look back and reflect of certain days that were just a little heavier than others, and we've had a year to reflect on a really heavy day.
How about on the offensive side? Was there anything that you identified on film that was a big difference or a change from earlier in the year to produce at such a high level in this game?
We're just getting a little bit cleaner. Just a little bit cleaner each week. The receivers, being healthy, as I've mentioned, is helping, just the timing of all that. I thought we played pretty good the week before, too. We just didn't knock out Temple's starting quarterback and their backup quarterback and the backup quarterback. I just think that can't be overstated enough when your quarterback is injured, how hard it is. Especially when you lose that many during the game. So I feel bad for Scott for that because I've been through that before. Our first year, we kind of got in that little deal, and that's hard to overcome.
JJ?
Jeff, what is having DJ Allen back add to the offense?
He got hurt. That was kind of a nice little story, too. Remember, he tore his ACL in the Rice game last year. That was his first touchdown, I believe, as a college football player. Then he tore his ACL. So that was kind of ironic. He's still not 100%. You can kind of tell he's kind of gimpy as he's running, but he was running. And he has big play-making ability, really good with run after catch when he gets the ball in his hands.
I also wanted to ask about Will Henderson. He had a pretty big day on his birthday. What have you seen out of him, and is it surprising that he's able to run so physical at his size?
He's getting better. He's growing up. He's just a redshirt freshman. Them guys for Gilmer, they're different. They're different kind of dudes, JJ. In so many ways, we are.
Greg?
Jeff, is Will Henderson the fastest guy on this team?
Great argument. We have a lot of guys that stake claim to that. I'd have to get Reese to give you the data on who has the highest miles per hour, but I'm sure he's up there. I really don't want to name the other 5 because the transfer portal's about to open, so I don't want everybody just taking my guys.
And you were just talking about DJ Allen as well. Where does he stand from that health perspective now, and what's kind of the outlook for him the rest of the year?
I think he'll continue to get better as long as he doesn't, twist it again. He's just those ankle injuries, especially when you're an athlete like he is, they bother you. And receivers would way rather have shoulder injuries and arm injuries and hand injuries. They can learn how to maneuver through that, but lower body injuries are always tough on skilled kids. So we'll just keep treating him and try to get him back to 100% as quick as possible.
You got to play a lot of guys in the second half who don't usually see the field on a week-to-week basis. Was there anybody who really kind of caught your eye or stood out with that opportunity?
Oh man, I wish I'd have thought through that question a little bit better because we did have some guys that played well. I was really excited just to watch certain people play. I thought James Wally played really good at linebacker. He got significant reps, and we've really been wanting James to come on. And I thought he took a big step. Our special teams guys, guys that always do play well, but they stood out a little bit more. I thought Alpha played a really good game out there at that gunner position. And Lawrence really came on for us. He played a much better game, our corner. So we were glad to see that. Had some offensive linemen come out there. It was good to get Meach some reps. That's the first time he's really got significant reps. He's coming on. Luke Lopez had his best game by far. He played very well. He was a player of the game. That was really good to see for Luke. He was going to play. He played when the game was still close. Or I'm not for sure of that. I know he was supposed to play of that. I didn't grade every play of the O-line, obviously. But in looking at my sheets, I know his plan was to play early. I know he played well. So those are some guys that just came to my mind quickly. But I wish I'd prepared for that question a little bit better, honestly.
Well, I'll ask you again tomorrow, and we'll see what you come up with. And then in general, what is sort of the value of being able to get some of your regulars, your starters out of there a little bit early and limit some snap counts with a tough stretch of the schedule coming out?
Yeah, I think that's going to be very valuable. We'll see how valuable it is. I think this is the best North Texas team we've played, and they've had some good ones. Eric's always fantastic on offense, but for him to hire his defensive coordinator, Coach Cassidy has just done an unbelievable job. Obviously, he brought a lot of his players from Sam Houston with him, and that helps. But he's also went and got a transfer from 2 from Old Dominion, 1 from TCU, 1 from Wyoming, plus the 7 he brought. That's just a totally different defense. That's where they're different. Now they're really good on D. They've always been great on O, and their special teams are always solid. I mean, Coach Savoda's always just done a fantastic job. They're a really good football team. This is other than this is a really good football team. I don't want to start comparing, but I know this is the best team Eric's had.
JJ?
Jeff, we didn't see Owen in the second half. Was that just the circumstances of the game, and how did you think he played?
I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, a score that's that big, you don't want to put him out there taking any more hits. He took a couple of shots in the game, that I'm disappointed in, that we didn't protect him better. It's so bad. So we were just trying to be smart with him. Those McAllen kids, they'll find a way. They're tough kids. And for me to take him out of the game, obviously he was furious, but it was the right thing to do in a game that big. And I wanted Brandon to play with the one some. We needed to get that on video and get to coaching him a little bit. So those were all the factors involved.
If I wanted to ask, a few people noted you had the play call sheet in your hands this week. Is that something you do every game?
It's never been any different from Barry Lundy Jr. to Will Stein to Justin Burke. I mean, we have plays scripted for each drive, and then we've got third down calls and red zone calls and backed up calls and 2-minute calls and 4-minute calls. And whenever it's the next drive, they're going over it on the headphones, and I'm listening. And if there's stuff that maybe I'm thinking of that they're not thinking of, I might reflect on the sheet during that time. But if it's just things that I was already well prepared for and already know, I'm not going to obviously pull the sheet out then when I already know. But yeah, that's never been any different. It's just somebody probably being a little more focused right now than they have been because we're not 5-1. We're 3-3. If we were 5-1, they probably wouldn't even notice that. And I don't blame them. I'd be looking for every reason in the world too. I still reflect back to Jack's comment. That just really cracks me up because I've always told people that most of the time people's opinions, they're trying to help. I believe with all my heart you and Greg's motives are pure. So that just still I'll give a shout out to Jack. That's the first time I've ever been asked that, but it's really resonated with me. As you can tell, I brought it up 3 times now.
Jeff, I wanted to ask you about the overall confidence in the group now. You get a big win under your belt. You said your guys haven't changed much. What do you hope to see out of the players this week? Just the same steady attitude?
Yeah, they've not ever wavered. They're really good kids. I told you after the A&M game. I mean, I like this team. They're wired with the right stuff. I know I'm a broken record. If we can stay healthy, we will continue to get better. Now, I know we've got a really, really good team coming up versus North Texas. And I said that to y'all as well. I mean, the schedule is extremely hard. So it might not look like we are as good as I think we are. But I like this team. I don't expect them to be any different. They have a ton of respect. Who wouldn't have a ton of respect for Eric Morris and his offensive ingenuity, just his creativeness, his ability to always score points. They play extremely fast, buzzsaw, tempo, a lot of formations, a lot of movements. If he wasn't such a good friend and a great Texas high school football player, his dad was a Texas high school football coach. I'm a huge fan of Eric's. And he treated me very, very well when he was at UIW, and I was the new kid on the block trying to learn the city of San Antonio. He was always very helpful to me. His wife and his beautiful family, they're just super people. And I have a ton of respect for Eric.
Greg?
Jeff, you mentioned last week a hydration issue with Robert Henry and kind of coming up with a plan to manage that. How did you feel about how that part played out in this game against Rice?
Yeah, our medical staff did a super job with Robert and was really appreciative of their help. And you could tell Robert was different. He was ready to roll and had a lot of juice and energy about himself. And, it'll be hot in Saturday in Denton. And we need to have a plan for him again. Sometimes those super freak athletes are just different like that. They can. I'm more of a Ford pickup truck, maybe a Chevy. I'm just kind of steady. He's one of those kind of cars that Martin Salinas drives, and those kind of guys. They're I don't even know what you call those cars. They're not Ford and Chevy pickup trucks. I can promise you that. So he's got a different type of fuel in his car than I do. I can just put some unleaded gas in there and I'm good to go. Robert needs some of that elite stuff that JJ knows about and all that NASCAR he watches.
And we got to see John Emery Jr. play for the first time. Where does he sort of stand in the recovery process, and what type of car is he?
Yeah, I think that game gave John some confidence. When he just came out there, and he kind of did that little high step that he didn't even need to do. It was kind of like he was just so glad to be free again, right? I would say John is a recovering Lamborghini, a big Lamborghini that's recovering in the process of healing and is trending in the right way. That's tough, to have what he's gone through. I recruited John out of high school. He was the elite of the elite. And I just want to get him back, trending in that way, and that's where we got him right now. So I'd say he's on pace, and I hope he continues to stay healthy and continues to get better. He's a super kid that I want to see him have some success. And it was just good to get him out there. It was good to see Bryson back from a torn hamstring in the spring. I know y'all remember that on that touchdown he had. And it was really good to see AP out there as well. We've got some really good backs. We've just been very blessed that Will and Robert have stayed healthy all year.
And one last thing I was just curious about. We saw Jalen Garth come out as a captain before the game. I don't know that I remember a time where a guy who wasn't playing was in that role. Was there anything that went into that, or a reason you wanted to give him that opportunity?
He just worked so hard, and to be injured like that and miss this time. And he's our only single-digit guy that hasn't been out there yet, So him and Corey have not been out there, and neither had David, all because of injury. But I want to get those guys, knocked off my list because I always let all those single-digit guys go at least one time, and then we'll start repeating. Sometimes we'll maybe make a variation if it's a kid that's playing really well that might not be a single-digit and he might be going home. There's some of those factors involved sometimes, but that was more of a single-digit shout-out to some injured kids that were I thought deserved some attention.
Anything else for Coach this morning? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank y'all. God bless. Birds up.